But there is one other factor. We talked about the Usos, we talked about Roman Reigns. We were discussing this before the show, and we talked about these four guys in the bloodline. But there's a puppet master out there. There's another guy who's hanging out in Hollywood that the name didn't come up. And that's our buddy Dwayne. Good old Dwayne.
Yeah.
What's Dwayne got to do with all this? Because I'm hoping that he's the one. Because this is you talk about who the fourth man is, and my booking mind is going to, okay, Dwayne might go with the other three guys, but he's going to turn on Roman, and it's going to turn. He's the one that's behind these four guys. Kind of just my little nasty, cruel, family crushing mind going at it there, because Roman lost and speared him at WrestleMania and all that. So,
well, I think they've set it up. They've really set it up well for that, because of the whole "I didn't lose to you, didn't beat me" with the whole talk back with Cody Rhodes, where Dwayne's sitting there going, "You didn't beat me, I didn't lose." And then you had the way the whole bloodline just kind of changed with Solo saying, we don't take to losing, and there went the other Usos. So now you definitely have that split. I think Dwayne really is the one that's probably pulling the strings right now. He probably is thinking he is the true head of the table right now, and it sets it up where you have that split. It allows Roman to come back as a baby. You definitely now have a true set of heels in the bloodline. No one's going to be cheering for them, especially when Roman comes back. It allows the Usos to come back, and you have a definite hit against each other. You can bring Dwayne back initially to be with Roman, but like you just said, splitting him off and having him on the other side makes it even better.
So that begs this question, because what everyone is saying is that the main event of next year's WrestleMania is Cody against The Rock. But should next year's WrestleMania, at least for one of the days, be Rock and Roman? Because if you're setting up this massive bloodline versus bloodline feud, wouldn't the ultimate result of that be this huge Roman versus The Rock showdown? And doesn't that, to a point, leave Cody out of the mix? That's something you've really got to think about, don't you, when you're setting up next year's WrestleMania?
I don't know if it leaves them out of the mix, because I don't think you really need to have Roman and The Rock, either of them, fighting for the championship at that point. I think it's really past them. I think the story of the bloodline, it brings a conclusion to the bloodline as we've seen it, by having Roman and The Rock go after each other. There doesn't have to be a championship involved. They've got to have some of these younger guys start stepping up. At some point, it becomes a little old. You could really see Cody fighting with Orton is a good possibility for WrestleMania next year.
Go.
It's really a good possibility there, because Orton's getting long in the tooth. Give him another shot to get in there. You just finished up with AJ Styles. Let's get a couple of these other older guys, give them their shot with Cody, give them that great moment with them on the grandest stage. And I think that's something that you can have and still not take away from the whole thing with Roman and The Rock.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Of course, when Orton saved Cody the other night, Orton was looking very lustfully at that WWE World Championship. And yeah, you may be onto something there, because I think everybody's you're hinting at that match at some point, which would be a great full circle match for the two of them. But I hadn't considered that at WrestleMania as a main event. But I don't think anybody would be complaining too much if you had that and a Rock Roman kind of co-main event on night 2. I think people would be doing that. And I think Las Vegas would get a kick out of that one.
Absolutely. Another one I was actually thinking, you could also look at a CM Punk, but I think at WrestleMania next year, you're going to see that's going to be the culmination. Finally, they're going to end the story between McIntyre and Punk at WrestleMania. I think that's where that one happens. you're going to see it a couple times throughout this year. SummerSlam is probably going to be the first one we're going to have Punk and McIntyre going after each other. But there is a possibility of Punk being involved with Cody as well. But I don't see it just yet. I see this McIntyre Punk thing being able to last to next WrestleMania.
Yeah, that is a distinct possibility. Yeah, and we had talked about this on the show last week that there are so many different possibilities for the World Heavyweight Championship. So many top guys now, as opposed to where it was, say, 3 years ago. This is actually the 175th edition of my show, and I remember the state of WWE when I first started doing this show on KDAWN, and just how bad it was, and how it was Brock and Roman, and anybody else out there was just a second tier. Who cares? And now there are so many people out there that you could consider holding a world championship and being in the main event. It's phenomenal. And not to steal a phrase there, but this is exciting right now. And we haven't even talked about Seth Rollins coming back yet, and he's going to be in the main event at Money in the Bank, which I think is very intriguing that all of a sudden now he's inserted into this whole dynamic with the World Heavyweight Championship. With Gunther waiting in the wings. This is fun, Jason. It's fun.
It's you've got great stars on both sides of the shows, with SmackDown and with Raw. You have legitimate contenders, legitimate champions. It's like you said, not like where it was 3-4 years ago. They've done a great job of just bringing these guys up, really developing their characters, and giving you something to watch for.